if it wasn't conscious thought that created that confidence to go and engage with the instructor and with your teacher, if it wasn't conscious, how do we teach this to be conscious thought? Because doesn't it need to be? For those that isn't naturally happening. And we can push it off and get into it later, but that's I find those unlock areas and moments that I'm really trying to help people, and they're like, "Hey, I just don't know. I don't know what or don't know how," and I'm like, "Well, we got some work to do."
I think the answer is the person has to find their passion. Because if you find your passion and you know it's your passion, you're going to do anything. You're going to move mountains to make it a reality.
But what if your uncles would have been plumbers? Yeah, what if they would have been plumbers or electricians or carpenters, though? That might have been your passion. You might have become passionate about that. You don't think so?
No, because it's one of the reasons I got into the car stereo game is because the car stereo world brings all of those trades into it, right? It's one of the reasons I love that because it took all of your traditional trades, your carpentry, your metal fab, your electronics, your plumbing. It took all of that and rolls it into one trade. Except now, instead of working in a building or a home, I do all this in a high-end vehicle.
So let's just say you got lucky. How old were you? Were you 13, 15? How old were you at this moment?
16, 17.
Okay. If it wasn't conscious thought for you then,
Yeah.
and you didn't have a coach the way you're trying to help people assist in living a better life, how do we help people have that conscious thought? Because are you just like one of the lucky guys? So I'll speak to it from a real estate perspective. This wasn't my passion, but I went all in. And then when I went all in and started having a little bit of success, I found passion within it. So it's like, can we take two different perspectives in two different worlds, right? I was sitting in a night class at a local university at 25 years old, and the adjunct professor said, "You should be in commission sales." And I'm like, "Oh, a lot of people have said that before." I'm like, "Oh, what type of commission sales do you think?" He's like, "Maybe go get a real estate license." I went, "Oh, maybe I'll go get a real estate license." Right? So it wasn't my passion, but I've gone all in too. And I've found tremendous success. So that maybe that's some angles that can help us. But what about that? And because you have built this business, you're building the coaching business, you've written the book. Can it be done both ways?
Yeah, I think it can. And like the successes that I've had now are because of the path that I did go down. So I pursued my passion, right? Did it for years, did it at a high level for years, had success there. And then got to a point where I said, hey, this really isn't for me anymore. I've almost outgrown it. And there's more to life than just this. So how do I go find that? Right? So like the passion led to what you see now. Because if you asked me 10, 15, 20 years ago, hey, do you ever think you'll write a book? I'd look at you like you had three heads. I'll give you a story. I start getting heavy into the self-development space. I'm 5 years into my second business. I realize that there's potential in the company. I also realize that I don't have the skill set to bring it to life. I'm a great technician. I know how to do the work. I don't know how to build a business. Cool. Go out, start looking for coaches, mentors, the whole 9 yards. Hire this guy. His name is Richard, old dude. He's like, hey, his first meeting with him. If you're going to work with me, you're going to read. I was like, oh, come on. I ain't got time to read. Like I'm in the car, 16-hour days is normal for me between working in the field and driving to and from customers' job sites. It's like, how am I going to read? Right. So he immediately counters that with, go get a damn audiobook, fool. Okay. Makes sense. So I start going down this audiobook path and I love learning. Right. So this resparks this love of learning for me. Cool. I'm zipping through audiobooks. I got these suckers on 1.2x, 1.5x, ripping through them. And I remember I was still living in New York at the time. I'm backing into my driveway. I had this little Subaru Forester. It was like my work vehicle, backing into the driveway. I'm this big giant guy who's like just, stuck in there, barely fitting. I back into the driveway, and it was the ending credits of this audiobook that I just listened to. And I don't remember what book it was. Right. And as I'm backing in, this thought comes over, and it's like, oh, that'd be really cool one day if you were a published author. And I literally smacked the back of my head with my own hand and said, come on, bro. It's a pipe dream. It's never going to happen. Like, you're just this blue collar dude from Long Island, New York. You're not smart enough. You don't have the skill set. You don't know the right people. Like, this isn't for you. Right. All the self-limiting BS talk that we all have dealt with across our lives. Right. So back into the driveway. Wouldn't you know, a couple months later, I'm in a networking group. And I'm like, man, that guy over there is an author. Oh, the guy who runs this group, he's got a couple books too. That dude, that girl over there, she's got 2 books. And I'm thinking to myself, like, I'm not the smartest guy in the world, probably not the smartest guy in the room, but I can definitely keep up with these people, and they've got books, which means that I can do it too. Okay, so let me start having some conversations. Let me ask some questions. How did you do this? What was the process? Did you hire someone to help you? Because I don't know how to start or what this looks like from start to finish. And they all pointed me in the right direction, connected with a couple different people. I wind up hiring an editor, right? And then 8 months later, after the initial conversation with the editor, there's a finished book, right? So it's funny how life just brings you down these paths and presents opportunities to you, and you have a choice. We always have a choice. You can either take action on the opportunity, or you can dismiss it and say, it's not for me. I'm not good enough.
So what's the title of your book?
And fuck your business.
So that tells me a lot about Mr. Keenan, just the title. But I want you to talk about the evolution of that, because it's a lot about core values. Were those realized? Were they developed? Did you start documenting? Did they automatically just show up, just like the passion for your career? Why are core values? Why do you think they're so important, and where'd they come from for you?
They were drilled down my throat by a coach. And I wasn't ready to listen for the longest time. I worked with this guy for like 3 years. The first 2 years, I just blew it off. I was like, it's a waste of time. By the time I wrote the book, they were dialed in, and we were using them very well at a very high level within the company. And I was a full believer at that point, because I had seen the difference, business A versus business B. So, business without core values implemented and business with it. And I was like, whoa, night and day difference. The core values to me are important for a lot of different reasons. Right? Number one, they're the guiding principles that make up your every damn day decisions. Right? When you have a choice that is presented to you, an opportunity, an offer, maybe work with a new company, new vendor, hire a new team member, does that person align with the values that we've established for this company? Does this opportunity align with the values we've established for this company? And it goes from a very gray answer to a black and white, real quick, real simple. Right? Also, if you ever want to own a business, not a job, you have to implement the core values and train your team on these values. And if your team is making decisions, business decisions without you there, based on or in integrity or in alignment with the values, cool. And you can't be mad at them, even if they make the wrong decision. As long as that value aligns with as long as that decision aligns with the values that you've established, they're good to go. And without that, I mean, you're just a crutch, and everyone's got to go back to you and ask you the same damn questions over and over and over again. Right? That's no way to grow, scale a business. Matter of fact, you become the bottleneck.